As we begin this hour with the military invasion that's currently unfolding in Eastern Europe, the Russian attack on Ukraine.
As we go to air tonight, Ukraine is under full-scale Russian assault.
Russian tanks and troops rolled across the border in a full-scale invasion of Ukraine just moments after their president...
24th February, the day that everyone remember, the day that Putin told his troops to advance to Ukraine's soils and fight for Russia's safety. In my opinion, I think that Russia's actions can be justified by the same reasons that US used to when helping and saving the Middle East countries. Both of these countries, US and Russia's, play a role that purely supports their government's agenda and interests. The difference between these two is how the media is portraying one and another. Not wanting to defame the countries whose music, movies and culture I love, I'm just really pointing fingers at its government and the decisions they make. For the past years, the United States established state governments in Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, in order for these countries to do what United States wants them to do. The United States government is not the hero you think it is. The world we live on is moved by money and don't expect anything to do unless they get something in return. 387,072 people died in a direct result of United States post 9/11 wars. 929,000 died since the beginning of the wars in the countries I stated. But the media coverage on this subject was almost zero. I didn't see any news, any information on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube about what was happening because of United States war in these Middle East countries. Of course, it's not an excuse for Russia's actions, but an eye-opening about how media illustrated the United States as heroes and Russia's actions as of terrorism. Now, all of a sudden, when Ukraine was in need, all of the countries opened their borders and their homes to the Ukrainian people. That's a good thing, but why that didn't happen while the Middle East countries were at war and people were dying? Even with the huge economic deficiency, all of the countries were able to help. What is the difference here? I think everybody knows the answer to this question, and that is the stereotype that these people have attached to them, which is of terrorism and death. And yeah, the difference is also based on their colors and their beliefs. The media doesn't always divulge the right information, and we could see that since late February, since the war started. We could see that media would divulge fake videos, images and statements in order to get more views and more popularity. The casualties in Ukraine, as we can see, there are quite a few of civilians, troops on both sides of this war. The numbers don't coincide with each of the sources that publish these numbers. Since the third day of invasion, media started saying that Russia is losing and will lose this war. But I don't think that will happen. If Russia wanted, they will just bomb every key point in Ukraine in order for them to win, not taking into consideration the loss of human lives and the damages they could do to Ukraine's structure. They have almost 1 million of active personnel and plus 2 million in reserve. Their guns and vehicles are of last generation and they're always competing with the other countries in this area. I found out by investigating potential harms Ukraine may have done to Russia for it to attack. And in my research I found out that Kiev bombarded the Ukrainian Russian in the east to take down a sad corrupted government. Also, Kiev shut down the electricity and water in Crimea. And I'm not even going to talk about the Alley of Angels Memorial and what it is, because it's too sad and inhuman. But making it short, the Ukrainian military bombed a beach in Zagreb with children, as it seems the Ukrainian government is not as innocent as you think it is. For 8 years, the Ukrainian government has been waging war with the people in Donetsk and Lugansk, and they've been patiently waiting for help. But the people in Ukraine are not to blame. They're innocents who are dying, losing their jobs and houses. They're losing their life. The one that I despise the most in this war is President Zelensky, which has been using its own people as martyrs in order to get attention of the media, making itself look like a hero while he has made it obligatory for men between 18 and 60 to enlist and fight. I saw videos and reports of people leaving the country not because they are afraid of the Russian soldiers, but because they're afraid to get enlisted and fight. Well, I would run too. If I was a civilian with no experience and sent to a war, I would just be a target there for the enemy. I wouldn't do much, I would just be a casualty. Putin's objective is not to conquer Ukraine, it's not to invade the rest of Europe. It's not. It's only to take Zelensky down and put someone in charge who will benefit him. And that's nothing new. The United States has been doing this in the Middle East countries for a long time. And yes, I don't believe Russia will lose this war in no way, because if Russia loses it, it will step down as a superpower. It will lose face. The sanctions that are already in place, and after losing the war, the economic deficiency that will happen for the country would be catastrophic. Russia would fall literally to its knees. All this being said, I just want to make sure that you don't think that I'm pro-Putin or pro-US. I just want to make sure that you understand the power that the media has and what has been doing to both of these countries, and that is United States and Russia. I want to say thank you, and until the next episode of Yesterday's Truth.